You were born in the forests of the north, in a village older than Rome's memory of the north. Your people were proud and free and answered to no one. You were a warrior of that village, not the greatest, but trained, tested, known. Then the legions came in the dark, with their discipline and their iron and their hunger for land, and they surrounded the palisade and put it to the torch. You heard the screaming before you saw the fire. By the time you reached the gate, the soldiers were already inside. Your father was already down. The legionary who killed him was still standing over the body, sword in hand, looking for the next target. He found you.
You stand your ground when the legionaries come. They are not expecting resistance. The surprise buys you 3 seconds, which is enough. Not enough to escape. Not enough to win, but enough to make them remember your face. That is all you wanted. There are 4 of them. You kill one before they understand what is happening. The sword moves before the mind does, which is either training or desperation. And at this moment, there is no difference. The second one you wound badly enough that he stops being a problem. The third one is better than you, and you know it. And you fight him anyway, because there is nothing else to do. He puts you down. Not dead. They want you alive, which is the only reason you are still breathing when they chain your hands. The 4th soldier stands over you and looks at you with an expression that is not quite contempt and not quite respect, but something in between. The look a man gives something that surprised him. Your hands are chained. Your ribs are broken. You are alive. These are the facts. You are still deciding what they mean. You feel nothing, or you tell yourself you feel nothing, which is a different thing. The body knows what happened here. The hands remember. The specific weight of the moment is recorded somewhere below thought. You do not access it now. You access it later, in the dark, when the guards are at the far end of the corridor. And you let yourself know what you did, and why, and what it cost. Then you put it away. You will need to be functional tomorrow. The march south is measured in suffering, not miles. The sun burns your neck. Thousands of you are chained wrist to ankle in a single line. And the iron clinks under the groaning and the coughing. The guards walk the column with their whips, and the leather speaks whenever the line slows. Hunger is constant, but water is the true cruelty, and your lips crack and bleed. Bodies fall along the road and are left where they drop. You watch men who were proud a month ago go hollow-eyed and bent. The chains are not the heaviest thing you carry. Your people are breaking around you, and there is nothing you can do but keep walking. You find the rhythm of the march, and you lock into it. Left foot, right foot. The chains keeping time. Your mind goes somewhere else. This is a skill you did not know you had until you needed it. The body marches. The self goes elsewhere. You will need this skill again. The guards call call a halt at a roadside shrine, a worn bronze Mercury rubbed smooth by 100 years of hands. They force the captives to their knees on the gravel and order each of you to make an offering. When your turn comes, you take a pinch of incense, sharp and resinous, and let it fall onto the embers. The smoke climbs to a god that is not yours, in the name of the men who burned your home. It is meant to break you. Kneeling there, breathing their smoke, you feel it do the opposite.
You kneel in the dust and lift the incense to the altar. The smoke goes up, looking like devotion. You are not devout. You are calculating. The Romans respect men who honor the gods, even foreign gods. This kneeling costs you something. It buys you something else. You decide the trade is acceptable.
You stand before the gates of Rome. The timbers rise like the ribs of some old animal, and the smell that comes through them is sweat and smoke and roasting meat and the sour reek of the alleys behind it. Beyond the gates, the city goes on without end, marble temples gleaming above tenements that lean into one another like drunks. This is the empire that burned your village and swallowed your people. It is magnificent, and it is monstrous, and it does not know your name. Your hands tighten on the strap of your gear. Then the line moves, and you go in. You enter with your head up. The Romans on the road look at you the way they look at livestock, appraising, indifferent. You hold your gaze forward. One of them spits. You do not flinch. Something in you decides, quietly, that this will not break you. Rome's slave market is the largest in the world. You have heard of it. You did not expect to see it from this side. The platform is elevated so the buyers can see clearly. The buyers stand in the shade. You stand in the sun. This is not an accident. Everything about this place has been designed by someone who thought carefully about what it should feel like to be here and what it should feel like to watch. The man next to you in the chain line is from somewhere north of the Danube. He does not speak Latin. He does not know what is happening. He keeps looking at the crowd with an expression that is trying to find something familiar in it and failing. You watch him do this for a while. Then the auctioneer calls your number, and you stop watching him because you have your own problems now. You stand on the platform and give them a blank face. Some buyers lose interest. One does not. You are sold to the Ludus. The lanista who buys you sees something in the blankness that he likes. He is not wrong to see it. The blank face is not emptiness. It is control. The chains are Roman iron, which means they are well made and heavy and designed to last. Your people used rope. You remember thinking when they first put these on you that this was a strange thing to notice the quality of the chains. But you have come to understand that noticing strange things is how you stay sane
when the large things are too large to look at directly. The weight of the chains is constant. You stop feeling it after the first week, the way you stop feeling the cold after the first hour. Not because it is gone, but because your body has incorporated it, made it part of the baseline. This is adaptation. It is also, you think, a kind of loss. The moment you stop feeling the chains is the moment you have accepted them. You decide to keep feeling them. It is a small act of resistance, but it is yours.
You wear it as armor. The color is on your body, not your mind. You say this to yourself until you believe it, and then you say it again until it becomes something harder than belief. The Romans put iron on men they fear. You hold on to that. Latin is the language of your captors. Learning it feels like a betrayal of everything you lost. But it is also the language of commands, of contracts, of the men who decide whether you live or die. A gladiator who cannot understand his doctore's instructions is a gladiator who gets killed by his own confusion. You begin to learn. You learn their language because it is a weapon, and you intend to use it. Every word you master is a door you can open, a wall you can see over. They think they are teaching you to serve them. You are learning to survive them. The memory arrives without warning, the way they always do. The smell of pine smoke and wet earth, the sound of your language spoken without fear, the weight of your own name in your own mouth. You were someone before this, a warrior, a son, a man with a place in the world that was not defined by iron and sand. Rome took that. Rome takes everything it touches and calls the taking civilization. You let the memory burn for a moment, then you close it away. Not because it hurts, it does, but because grief is a luxury you cannot afford right now. Later, when this is over, if it is ever over, you will grieve properly. For now, you walk. You let the memory fade, not because it does not matter, but because carrying it at full weight every day would break you, and you cannot afford to be broken. You keep the outline, the feeling, the fact of it. The details you release into the dark. Your people had a word for it. The Romans would not understand the word, so you do not try to translate it. It means something like the obligation of the strong to die well, so that the weak know dying well is possible. You were taught this before you could hold a spear. You watched men older than you choose death over surrender, and you understood even then that they were not choosing death. They were choosing what kind of life they wanted to have lived. The Romans see this as stubbornness. You see it as the only form of freedom they cannot take. You carry the code with you into the Ludus. It does not make the chains lighter, but it makes you heavier in the way that matters. The spirit survives. The form changes. Your people's code said, fight with honor, die with dignity, never strike a fallen enemy. You keep the spirit of it and adapt the form to what the arena demands. This is not betrayal. This is how a living tradition survives contact with the world. You have been watching the guards for 3 days. Not obviously. Obviously is how you get moved to a more secure cell, or worse. You watch the way you learned to watch in the life before this one, peripherally, patiently, building a picture from fragments rather than staring at the whole. What you have learned: the guard on the morning shift is thorough but predictable. The one on the evening shift is neither, which makes him more dangerous, but also more exploitable. Unpredictable men have patterns too. They are just harder to read. The night shift guard has a bad knee that he favors on the left side, which affects his speed on turns. None of this is useful yet. All of it will be. You study the other captives. The large man with the Gallic tattoos, who has clearly done this before. His eyes are calm, which is either wisdom or the absence of hope, and you are not sure which. The young one, who is trying not to cry, who will either harden or break in the first month. The older man, who moves like a soldier, who is counting the guards the same way you are. You file them all away. Some of them will be useful. Some of them will be dangerous. You intend to know which is which before it matters. The Ludus is larger than you expected. The training ground alone could hold 200 men, and the walls around it are high enough that you cannot see the city beyond them, which you suspect is deliberate. The men already here watch you arrive with the particular attention of people who have learned that new arrivals are information. Information about the outside world, about the Lannista's plans, about what kind of fighter you are, and whether that makes you useful or dangerous. You walk through the gate, and you feel the weight of their attention, and you understand that your first impression here will be difficult to revise. You walk carefully. You look at nothing to learn. You are trying to appear neither threatening nor weak, which is a difficult balance to strike when you are new, and everyone knows it. The gates close behind you. You catalog the compound, the training yard, the barracks block, the physician's room, the guards' positions. Information is the only currency that matters here. They march you down a dark, damp corridor into a windowless room and order you to strip. Everything you carried from the life before, every scrap of cloth, every small reminder of who you were, goes onto the courtyard fire. Attendants scrub you with lye soap and cold water and do not speak. The water runs dark with the dirt of the road and takes the last of your old self down the drain. The guards lean against the walls and watch, bored, prodding a slow man along with the butt of a spear. You are naked and counted now, property in the ledger, or a contracted fighter in the law, depending on how you came here. The distinction matters to you. It does not matter to the men holding the records. You stand still and let it happen. The tunic, the sandals, the cord around your wrist that you have worn since before you can remember. Each thing taken is a calculation. What they are removing, what they think they are removing, and what they cannot touch. By the time they are done, you know the difference. The food in the Ludus is better than you expected, and worse than you hoped. Barley porridge, dried figs, olive oil, occasionally meat when a fight has gone well and Varro is in a generous mood. The gladiators eat in a long room with stone benches and a low ceiling that traps the smell of bodies and cooking. You take your bowl and find a place at the end of a bench and eat without looking up. This is the first rule you learned. Don't look up until you understand the hierarchy. The hierarchy in a Ludus is not complicated, but it is absolute. At the top are the veterans, the men with records, with patrons, with the particular authority that comes from having survived something that kills most people. Below them are the fighters with promise. Below them are the new recruits, which is what you are. Below you, in theory, is no one. In practice, there is always someone below you. And the distance between you and them is the distance between safety and danger. You eat your porridge and try to figure out where you are in this map. You watch who eats first and who waits. The hierarchy is already forming, and it is forming around the food. The man who takes the largest portion without looking up has been here before, or somewhere like it. You note his position in the room. The Dottore is not what you expected. You expected someone who looked like what he does, which is to say, someone who looked like a weapon. What you find is a man of middle age, with a fighter's body gone slightly to weight, and the eyes of someone who has been watching men die for long enough that he has developed a professional relationship with the fact of it. He looks at you the way a craftsman looks at raw material. Not with contempt, not with enthusiasm, but with the particular focused attention of someone trying to determine what you are good for. He does not introduce himself. He does not explain the rules. He watches you for a moment. Then he says, "Show me your hands." You show him your hands. He looks at them for a long time. Then he nods once and walks away. You do not know what he saw. You do not know if it was good or bad. You know that the assessment has begun. You speak back. The words are out before you can stop them, and the room goes very quiet. The Doctore's eyes do not change. That is the frightening part. He does not get angry. He simply looks at you the way a man looks at a problem he has already solved. Good, he says. Remember that feeling. You will need it. The holding cells beneath the Ludus are cold even in summer, the stone walls sweating with the damp that never quite dries. You have been here 3 days. The men around you are in various states of adjustment.
Some have gone quiet in the particular way that means they are still processing. Some have gone loud in the particular way that means they are not processing at all. And some have achieved the flat-eyed calm of men who have decided that processing is a luxury they cannot afford. You are trying to decide which of these you are. The answer keeps changing.
You think about the cell as a problem to be solved, rather than a punishment to be endured. The lock, the walls, the guard rotation you have already begun to map. None of it is solvable tonight, but the habit of solving is worth keeping.
The Doctore's voice booms through the training yard, laced with scorn and command. He rails against weakness, laziness, and the luxury of sentiment. You feel his gaze like a hammer, breaking down any flicker of softness in your eyes. The others shift uneasily, some lowering their heads, others bristling with resentment. His tirade is a brutal lesson on what it means to survive here. Strength above all, pain embraced as a tool, and loyalty only to the Ludus. The words are not war. That is the part that stings. You file away the parts that are useful, and let the rest wash past you.
You hold his gaze without flinching, and something in your expression makes him pause, just for a moment, just long enough to register. He does not back down, but he sees you. That is enough for now. Dawn comes cold and gray, and they rouse you from thin sleep. Metal and shouted orders begin the sharpening. You line up with the others for the work that is meant to burn the weakness out of a man. Strike, block, dodge, again, until the body stops asking the mind for permission. The Doctore misses nothing and corrects with his staff. It is hard work, and it has no mercy in it. And somewhere under the exhaustion, a rhythm forms, the beginning of something that moves on its own. By the time the sun is high, the pain has become familiar, the kind a man learns to carry, because here it is the price of staying alive.
You focus on technique. The other trainees are working harder than you. More repetitions, more sweat, more visible effort. You are working better. There is a difference. Draco sees it. He says nothing. His silence is its own kind of acknowledgement.
Barca finds you at the water trough in the hour before the morning drill, which is the only hour in the compound schedule that belongs to no one. He does not introduce himself. You already know who he is, because everyone in the compound knows who Barca is, the way everyone knows the load-bearing walls in a building they live in. He stands beside you and drinks water and says, without preamble, "You are watching the wrong people." You ask what he means. He says, "You are watching the Doctori and the guards, the people who can hurt you officially. You should be watching the people who can hurt you unofficially." He drinks more water. That is a longer
list. He leaves before you can respond. You stand at the water trough and think about the list.
You spend the rest of the morning watching the people Barca indicated. Not the doctore, not the guards, but the 3 senior fighters who control the flow of the yard. By midday, you have mapped the invisible lines. You do not cross any of them. Not yet.
Three days in, you begin to understand the political geography of the barracks. There are 2 factions, loosely organized around 2 veterans. Taurus, a heavy-set Campanian who has been here for 6 years and has 17 fights on his record. And Philon, a Greek who was a philosopher's slave before he was a gladiator, and who has the particular authority of one who thinks clearly and speaks rarely. They are not enemies. The relationship is more complicated than that. A kind of professional respect that contains somewhere inside it a disagreement about something fundamental that neither of them has articulated directly. The new recruits are expected to align, not immediately, not formally, but in the small daily choices of who you eat near, who you train beside, whose advice you ask. You have been watching both men for 3 days. You have formed opinions. The question is what to do with them.
Hanno looks at you when you sit beside him. The expression of someone who has been in this place long enough to know that proximity is a statement. He does not speak, neither do you. But when the lights go out, he shifts slightly to give you more room. It is a small thing. It is not a small thing. The second night watch rotation is different from the first. You know the perimeter now, the loose stone near the east wall, the torch that always burns lower than the others, the guard on the outer wall who coughs every 20 minutes with the regularity of a water clock. You walk the perimeter, and you think about what you have learned in the past 3 weeks, which is more than you expected and less than you need. The compound is a system. Like all systems, it has rules, and it has exceptions to the rules, and it has the people who know the difference between the two. Barca is one of those people. You have been watching him, the way he told you to watch people. Not the official version of him, the senior fighter with the record and the reputation, but the real version, the one that operates in the margins of the schedule. You are beginning to understand what you are seeing. You train alone in the dark. The compound is quiet. The guards are at the far end of their rotation, and you have the training ground to yourself. You work on the things Draco has not yet taught you. You work on the things you already know, but need to make faster. The compound physician sends for you again, days after the arrival exam. It is the same tired Greek freedman, Philemon, who weighed you for the Lanista's ledger when you first came through the gates. A man who was a military surgeon before his contract was bought, and who approaches the human body with the specific pragmatism of someone who has spent 20 years deciding which injuries are worth treating and which are not. He examines you with his hands and his eyes, and a series of questions that are less about how you feel
and more about what you can do. He is not unkind. He is also not interested in your comfort, which is different from unkindness. He tells you what he finds, the old injuries, the new ones, the things that will heal and the things that will not. He tells you this with the neutrality of a man delivering information, not a verdict. You sit on his table and you listen, and you try to decide how much of what he is telling you is useful and how much of it is simply true.
You say nothing and let him work. He is efficient and not unkind. The kindness of the professional, which is different from personal warmth, but no less real. He finishes. You are still here. That is what matters. A letter arrives on the 22nd day. The guard hands it to you without ceremony. Letters in the compound are not private, which everyone knows. Which means the person who wrote it also knew. Which means what they wrote is the version of the truth they are willing to have read by strangers. You take the letter to the corner of the training yard and you read it in the hour before the afternoon drill. It says what it says. You read it twice. The second time you are reading not for the content, but for what is not there. The things they did not write, the questions they did not ask, the silences that tell you more than the words. You fold it and put it inside your tunic, and you think about what to do with what you have just learned. You memorize the list, every name, every location, every detail. And then you destroy the letter. The information is safer in your head than on paper. You do not know yet what you will do with it, but you will know when the time comes. The announcement comes at the morning meal on the 28th day. The dottore reads the names from a list without inflection. 6 fighters, 3 bouts, the festival of series in 4 days. Your name is on the list. You knew it was coming. Everyone knows it is coming. It is the whole point of the compound. But knowing a thing and hearing your name read aloud among the men who will fight in 4 days are not the same. You eat your meal. You do not taste it. Around you, the other fighters are reacting in the ways that fighters react to this news. Some are quiet. Some are louder than usual. Some are eating with the specific focus of people who have decided that the body needs fuel and that feelings are secondary concern. Barker is watching you from across the room. You meet his eyes. He nods once, which would mean many things, but you decide it means the thing you needed to read. You say nothing. The announcement hangs in the air of the barracks, and you let it settle, feeling the weight of it. 4 days. You have 4 days to become something that can survive. You have survived worse preparations. With 4 days until the fight, the training changes. The morning drills become more specific, not the general conditioning of the first 3 weeks, but targeted work on the things the dottore has identified as your weaknesses. He does not explain why he is changing the training. He does not need to. You understand that the fight is in 4 days,
and that the training is now about the fight, and that the fight is about survival, and that survival is the only metric that matters in the arena. You train, you eat, you sleep badly, you train again. In the evenings, in the hour before lights out, Barca sometimes sits near you and says things that are not quite advice and not quite warnings. Observations about the arena, about the crowd, about the specific way that fear operates in a person's body when the gate opens and the noise hits you. You listen. You do not ask questions. You have learned that Barca's observations are more useful when you let them settle than when you interrogate them.
You focus on reading your opponent. Every fighter has patterns. The way they breathe before a strike, the way their weight shifts before they move. You spend the week learning to see those patterns. In the arena, the man who sees first lives longest.
The training ground is a rectangle of packed earth, ringed by wooden posts worn smooth by 10,000 grips. You arrive before dawn, as instructed. The other recruits are already there. A Gaul with a shaved head, a Numidian whose left ear is half missing, 2 Italians who might be brothers. None of them speak. The Doctore walks the line without greeting anyone, his staff resting across his shoulders. He stops in front of you for a long moment, studying the way you hold your body, the way your weight sits on your feet. You've been in a fight before, he says. It isn't a question. He hands you a wooden sword that weighs twice what you expected and points at a post. Show me what you know. The others watch. You raise the Ludus and feel the old muscle memory stir. Whatever you were before this place, you were not entirely soft. But the Doctore's arms are folded, and his eyes are measuring every flaw.
You let the burning rage take over and swing wildly, throwing absolutely everything you have into a desperate two-handed attack aimed at his head. He steps aside with contemptuous practiced ease and crushes your lower ribs with a brutal backhand swing of his heavy staff. You drop instantly to the sand, unable to breathe, and spend the entire night coughing up blood in the dark barracks. But the other recruits look at you with a strange mixture of deep fear and quiet respect. You are either incredibly brave or completely stupid, and in the Ludus, the difference is entirely academic. The man's name was Virgo, not the senator, a Gaul who took the name as a joke, or as a challenge, or as the kind of private statement that men make when they have been stripped of everything else, and the only thing left to assert is a name. He died in the 3rd fight of the morning session, against an opponent who was technically his equal, and practically his better by a margin that was not visible until it was decisive. The crowd called for death. The editor gave the signal. Virgo received it with his eyes open, which is the only thing you will remember about him in the years to come, that he kept his eyes open. You watched from the holding pen. You have been in the arena twice now, and you have not yet had to kill anyone, and you have been telling yourself that this means something. Watching Virgo die, you understand that it means nothing.
The arena does not care about your record. It cares about the next fight.
You continue training. The body has already been removed by the time the morning drill begins, and the doctore does not mention it, and the other trainees do not mention it, and the silence around the absence is its own kind of lesson. This is what happens here, and the compound continues, and you continue with it. You drill harder than usual. The hardness is not indifference. It is the only form of respect available to you. Quintus Servilius watches your training for the first time from the elevated walkway above the yard. You know it is him because the guards straighten when he appears, and the other gladiators fight slightly harder, slightly cleaner, the way men perform when the person who owns them is watching. He is not what you expected. The lanista is a small man, compact, with the careful stillness of someone who has learned that stillness is its own kind of power. He wears no armor, carries no weapon. He holds a wax tablet and a stylus, and he makes notes the way a merchant inventories grain. You are grain. You are being inventoried. His eyes find you twice during the session. The first time is when you land a clean disarm on Tetrates, who outweighs you by 40 pounds. The second time is when you help Tetrates up afterward. A small gesture, instinctive. The kind of thing you do without thinking. The stylus moves. At the end of the session, he calls you up to the walkway. He looks at you the way he looked at his tablet, measuring something, calculating something. He asks you one question. What do you want? It is the most dangerous question anyone has asked you since you arrived here. You tell him glory. The word comes out smoothly, convincingly, with the right amount of conviction. He looks at you for a moment, then writes something on his tablet. He has heard this answer before. It is the answer most of them give, because it is the answer they think he wants. You have given him the expected answer. That is useful. Men who expect the expected are easier to surprise. Draco has been watching you more carefully than the others. You notice it in the small adjustments he makes to your drills, the way he adds a second set when everyone else is dismissed, the way he corrects your footwork with his hands instead of his words, which is how he corrects the men he thinks are worth correcting. This morning, he stops the entire yard to demonstrate a defensive pivot using your body as the example. You stand still while 30 men watch him move your arm into the correct position, and you understand that this is both instruction and assessment. He is teaching you. He is also teaching the others what you are. You have a problem, he says quietly when the yard resumes. You think before you move. In the street, that is wisdom. In the arena, it is a half-second that will kill you. He does not wait for a response. He walks away. You stand in the sand and consider whether he has just insulted you or given you the most useful thing anyone has said to you since you arrived. You take the adjustment without resistance. Draco moves on, but he comes back to you twice more before the session ends, which means he's watching, and watching means something. There is a gladiator named Titus who has been here 6 months. He is good, genuinely good, not just experienced. He has the kind of economy of movement that takes years to develop. No wasted effort, no telegraphed intentions, nothing that gives you information you can use against him. You watch him train for 3 days before you understand what makes him dangerous. It is not his speed or his strength, both of which are considerable. It is his patience. He waits. He lets the other man commit first, and then he punishes the commitment. He has learned that in a long fight, the man who moves second usually wins. He has also noticed you watching him. He does not acknowledge it directly, but on the 3rd day, after his training session ends, he looks at you for a moment before he walks away. The look says, "I know what you are doing. The question is, what you are going to do with it." You match his intensity. The training session becomes something other than a drill. It becomes a conversation between 2 people who are deciding what they are to each other. He is good. You are good. The question is whether you are good in the same ways or in complementary ways. And the answer to that question determines whether you are rivals or something more useful. By the end of the session, you are both breathing hard, and neither of you has the answer yet. You will keep asking. It is not Titus who approaches you that evening. It is Cato, older, quieter, someone you have been aware of for weeks without quite knowing why. The scar runs from his left ear to the corner of his mouth, an old wound, long healed, that is settled into the face the way old wounds do, becoming part of the geography rather than a mark on it. You have been looking at it for weeks without asking, because in this place you learn quickly that asking about scars is asking about history, and history is private. Cato tells you anyway one evening without being asked, the way men tell things they have been carrying for too long, not because they have decided to trust you, but because the weight has become greater than the caution. The story is not what you expected. It is worse, and also more ordinary, which is its own kind of horror. When he is finished, he looks at you with the expression of someone who has just handed you something fragile and is waiting to see whether you will drop it. He tells you what his scar taught him, that speed is more important than strength, that the first strike is rarely the one that matters, and that the man who is afraid of being hit is already half beaten before the fight begins. You listen to all of it. Then you ask him what the scar cost him. He is quiet for a moment. "Everything I thought I knew about myself," he says. You understand that answer completely. The barracks at night is a different place than the barracks in daylight. In daylight, it is a training facility, a business, a machine for producing fighters. At night, it is a place where men are afraid and trying not to show it, and the sounds of that effort, the restless turning, the half-suppressed sounds that people make when they think no one is listening, are more honest than anything that gets said in the daytime. You lie awake
and listen to the compound breathe and think about the men around you. Taurus, who has been here 6 years and has learned to sleep anywhere. Draco, who reads by lamplight until the guard comes to take the lamp. Hanno, who prays in a language you don't recognize, quietly, facing a direction that is not Rome. You think about what each of them is carrying, and what you are carrying, and whether the weight is something you can put down.
You stay in your bunk and let the night be what it is. The sounds of the barracks at night, the breathing, the shifting, the occasional murmur of a man talking in his sleep become familiar, become the sound of a place you live in rather than a place you are trapped in. The distinction is small, it is real. You are learning to make your peace with the walls, not because you accept them, but because fighting them in your sleep costs you the rest you need to fight them when it matters. The Doctore brings you to the armory and tells you to choose a training weapon, not your fighting weapon. That will be assigned based on your style. But the training weapon you spend the most time with shapes the fighter you become. And the Doctore knows this, and he is watching to see what you choose. The armory smells of iron and oil. The weapons are arranged on racks: short swords, long swords, spears, shields of various sizes, a net folded in the corner. You walk along the rack and let your hands hover over each one, and try to feel what your body already knows. You choose the gladius. It is Rome's weapon, the weapon of the legions, and it suits the Murmilo's geometry. Short, direct, used behind the wall of the scutum. The Doctore watches you work the drill and says nothing for a long time. Then, good. The gladius is honest. It does not forgive mistakes, but it does not make them either. It happens during a sparring session in the 3rd week. Your partner, a Thracian named Milo, who has been here longer than you, gets through your guard with a wooden sword that catches you across the cheekbone. It's not a serious injury. Philemon cleans it and says it will heal, but it leaves a mark. A thin white line that you can feel with your fingers when you press the skin. The Doctore looks at it the next morning and says, "Good." You look at him. The first scar is the hardest, he says. After that, you know you can take a hit and keep going. The scar is proof. You think about what it means to carry proof of something on your body, visible to anyone who looks. You accept the scar. The Doctore looks at the wound and says, "That's proof you survived." You look at it. A clean cut, already closing, already becoming the thing it will be for the rest of your life. You have been marked by this place. The mark is real. You decide to make it mean something other than what the place intended. You do not know yet what that meaning will be. You know you will find it. You see the cut happen in real time, which is different from seeing the result of a cut. The result is blood and pain and the specific silence that falls over a training yard when something goes wrong. The happening is faster, a fraction of a second, a blade that moves wrong, a hand that was not where it should have been, and then the result. The man who was cut is Varro. The man who cut him is Varro's sparring partner, who did not mean to do it, and knows immediately that he did not mean to do it. Draco is there in seconds. The cut is deep, but not dangerous. Forearm, muscle, nothing vital. Varro will fight again in 3 weeks. But you stand in the yard and hold the image of the happening in your mind, because you have been training for months and treating the weapons as tools. And this is the first time you have seen them be what they actually are. You watch and you remember the larger man's name, the smaller man's name, the specific dynamic between them, the way the guards responded or didn't. You are building a map of this place's violence. Who initiates it? Who absorbs it? Who profits from it? Who pays the cost? The map will be useful. The smaller man catches your eye as he walks away. You give him a small nod. He nods back. That exchange cost nothing and may be worth something. The barracks at night before a fight is quieter than usual. The men who have been here before know how to sleep. The men who haven't lie still and listen to the ones who can. You are in the second group. The oil lamp burns low. The smell of the place, sweat, iron, straw, is familiar now in a way it wasn't 3 months ago. You lie on your back and look at the ceiling and think about the fight. Then you stop thinking about the fight, because thinking about it is not the same as preparing for it. You think about something else instead. The ceiling. The sound of someone breathing in the dark. The question of whether you will sleep at all. You breathe, slow, deliberate, the way Draco taught you. Not to calm yourself, but to locate yourself. The fear is still there when you finish, but you know where you are now, and that is enough to sleep. Every gladiator has a ritual. Some are religious, prayers to Mars, to the fates, to whatever local god they carried with them from wherever they came from. Some are practical, checking the edge of the blade 3 times, adjusting the grip wrap until it sits exactly right, rolling the shoulders in a specific sequence that warms the muscles and quiets the mind simultaneously. You have been developing yours without quite realizing it. It begins with the water, a specific amount, drunk at a specific pace, cold enough to feel real. Then silence, 2 minutes of it, eyes closed, the noise of the holding pen becoming background. Check your equipment one more time, methodically, starting with the helmet and working down. The chin strap, the visor, the shoulder guard, the arm wrapping, the greave, the sandal strap. Everything is as it should be. You already knew it was, but the checking is not about finding problems.
It is about occupying your hands and your attention with something concrete, while the fear does what fear does. By the time you finish the check, the fear has settled into something you can use. The walk from the Ludus to the arena takes 20 minutes through streets already full of people who have come to see you. Not you specifically. They don't know your name yet. They have come to see the event, and you are part of the event, which is a different thing from being a person. You walk in a line with the other fighters, some chained at the wrist. You walk free, but closely watched. Procedure, not punishment. A formality that exists to prevent the kind of thinking that happens when a man gets close to the gate and realizes he could.
You focus inward. You run through your training. Not the specific techniques, but the principles behind them. The logic of the system Draco has been building in your body. By the time you reach the arena gates, the city has disappeared. There is only the training, and the fight that the training has prepared you for. You step through the gates ready. The tunnel beneath the amphitheater is another world from the one above. Up there, 50,000 Romans eat and drink and roar for blood. Down here, there is wet stone, rusted iron, and the sour sweat of men who know they may not walk back through this gate. Torchlight throws their shadows long against the wall. You feel the crowd through the soles of your sandals, a vibration with no source. The gate guard leans on the portcullis lever and picks his teeth with a sliver of bone. He has watched 1,000 men go through this gate and does not look at you. You shut your eyes and run through every drill Draco has beaten into your muscle over 3 months. Footwork, guard, thrust, recover, shield bash. The fear does not leave, but it steps aside to make room for something more useful: competence. The noise reaches you before anything else. And then the smell. Sweat, dust, fresh blood, roasting meat drifting down from the stands. The sun makes the air shimmer. Shouts and drums and armor blur into one sound. The faces go indistinct, a single mass that has come to watch men bleed. You feel small under it, exposed. The weight of what they expect presses on your shoulders like a hand. You find a point on the far wall and hold it. The roar narrows to a low hum at the edge of your hearing. The smell fades. The heat becomes just heat. You have been in worse places than this, and you have been alone in all of them. You can do this. The portcullis grinds upward on screaming metal. The noise hits like a blow to the chest. 50,000 voices pressed into one sound you feel in your teeth. You step out of the shadow into white afternoon light. The sand is pale gold, raked smooth, with a few dark stains near the center the rake could not lift. The tears rise on every side until the people blur into a single moving mass. The smell is wine and perfume and roasting meat, and under it, the copper of old blood baked into the ground. Across the arena, your opponent has already come out of the far gate. A Thracian, scarred, broad, armed. Crowd is just noise. The blinding sun is just light. The scarred Thracian across the sand is the only thing in the entire world that actually matters. You watch the specific way he walks. His left knee turns very slightly inward when he puts weight on it. He has an old, poorly healed injury there. You immediately file this vital information away for later. The brass horn sounds one long note. The Thracian does not charge. He circles to your left, testing your feet, your timing. The Sika is made to hook the rim of a shield and drag it open, and he carries it like a man who knows the first exchange decides nothing and teaches everything. He feints twice with the shoulder, reading you. Then he commits. The hook comes around your shield rim, and his shoulder drives into your center at the same instant. The hook to open your guard, the shoulder to put you down. You have a fraction of a second. You smoothly sidestep at the absolute last possible moment. He stumbles awkwardly past you, his momentum carrying him dangerously off balance. You do not strike him in the back, not yet, but you have clearly shown him that you are significantly faster than he expected a man of your size to be. He immediately reassesses his approach. The fight has run several minutes. Both of you are soaked through, chests heaving in the heat. He is bleeding from a cut above his eye that you gave him in the third exchange. You are bleeding from a cut on your forearm that he gave you in the fifth. The crowd has been watching a contest. Now they are watching something else. Two men who have run out of strategy and are down to will. The turning point is here. You can feel it the way you can feel a change in weather. Not see it yet, but know it is coming. The next exchange will decide the fight. You step smoothly inside his overextended, off-balance arm and drive your gladius directly into his exposed side, slipping the blade neatly between the lower ribs. Not deep enough to kill him instantly, you deliberately pull the strike at the last second, but absolutely deep enough to drop him. He goes hard to his knees, one hand pressed desperately to the bleeding wound, the other dropping his Sika into the sand. The crowd screams in triumph. The Thracian is on his knees. His sword is in the sand 3 feet away. His shield arm is useless, the shoulder dislocated from the fall. He is breathing. He is looking at you. He has raised one finger, the old signal, the plea for mercy. The crowd is split, half calling for the kill, half calling for missio. The editor's box is watching you. The lanista is watching you. Barca is watching you. The decision is yours. You have perhaps 10 seconds before the crowd makes it for you. You raise your weapon to the crowd, not in triumph, in petition. You are asking them. The noise shifts, the half calling for mercy grows louder, and the editor reads it. His thumb goes up. The Thracian is carried off the sand alive. The crowd's approval is not as loud as it would have been for the kill, but it has a different quality, something that sounds almost like respect. You have given them a story instead of a body. Stories last longer. You sit alone in the washroom beneath the arena, scrubbing dried blood and sweat from your body with a rough sponge and cold water. Your muscles ache with a fatigue you have not felt before. The lanista walks in quietly, carrying a small leather pouch that clinks heavily with coins. He looks at you with a strange new expression, not exactly respect, but definitely something resembling professional appreciation. He tosses a single heavy silver denarius onto the wooden bench beside you. "Your cut of the winnings," he says flatly. "Don't spend it all on cheap wine and whores tonight. You fight again in 3 weeks." You let the coin fall silent to the dust, its dull clink swallowed by the roar of the crowd. Their silver, stained with the sweat and blood of countless others, is no currency for your soul. You fight not for gold, but for something the arena cannot give you and cannot take. The knowledge of who you are when everything else has been stripped away. Each strike of your blade, each parry and dodge, carves away at what you were before this place and reveals what you are becoming. You feel the fire of resolve kindle within, fierce and unyielding, knowing that every drop of your blood spilled here is a step toward the man you must become. The fight is over. You are standing. The crowd is making its noise, approval mostly, with the particular edge that means they wanted more, but will accept this. Barca is waiting at the gate. He looks at you with a flat, evaluating gaze and says, "You made 3 mistakes." He tells you what they were. You listen. The battle heat is still moving through you, and it makes everything slightly unreal. The noise, the light, the smell of the sand, the fact that you are alive and the fight is behind you. You think about the 3 mistakes. You think about... You listen to Barca's corrections with everything you have. He is not praising you. He is building you. The distinction matters. You absorb every word.